Hello, hello, and welcome back to Vancouver Actors Podcast. I'm your co-host, Michael Coleman.
And I'm Sidney Quesnelle.
My other, it's not really mine. You're just a co-host independently. Yeah. It's like I don't own her. She's a co-host, I'm a co-host, and we do this collaboratively. Today, we're going to talk about seeking representation. So today we're going to talk about agents, and there's lots to go over here. But before we get started, maybe we'll give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Audition.com.
You can use the code Vancouver Actors for 25% off when you sign up.
Yeah, so 24/7 if you're looking to do self-tapes, as we tend to do in the middle of global pandemics. You have access to professional readers at your beck and call. You also have an opportunity to let them know that you're a professional actor and be willing to do the same if you're looking to generate a little bit of additional revenue, which we're big fans of. We think
multiple revenue streams.
Heck yeah. So WeAudition.com is a fantastic resource. Check it out. Let us know. We're always interested to hear your feedback on what that experience is like. So, Sid, we've done a little bit on self-submissions. We've done a lot of different things on this podcast so far, but one of the things we need to do if we want to work professionally is we need access to the game.
Yeah, and before we really get into it, I was wondering if, Michael, if you could comment a bit on agencies versus managers. I know that this is the Vancouver Actors Podcast, so this is very Vancouver-based. Yeah. So managers and agents are kind of similar in Vancouver, but if you could kind of touch on the differences and how in Vancouver they're like a little bit different, like the different steps.
Sure, as a matter of fact, and there's actually a bridge in there too. So you'll notice that a lot of Vancouver agents will refer themselves as agents or managers because we actually never separated in the earlier days of our industry. There's laws in terms of how much an agent can charge, and that is 10%. And then many of you listening to this podcast will say, "What? I pay 15." And yeah, you do, because you're able to pay 5% to your manager and 10% to your agent. And it was lobbied several decades ago that due to the sudden burst of opportunities here in British Columbia, our agents were doing a lot more work, and they were actually doing the works of managers and agents. So they were able to renegotiate the opportunity to be 15%, which I got to be honest with you, as an actor, I think it's way too high. If I was an agent, way too low.
Totally, because both sides will always remember, it's hard to remember that you guys are a team.
For sure.
If you're not working for an agent, the agent's not working for you. You guys are...
You're collaborative partners. So this is my favorite part where I'll jump into, so imagine this. So you get somebody who will be your agent or your manager, and they are willing to work for you 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week, whatever it is. They get up in the morning, they look for the breakdowns, they try to find where you're in there, they make real hard pushes, they make sure, you're staying on brand, you're staying sharp, all these things. They're thinking about your acting career 40 or 50 hours a week. And in all honesty, if we're being brutally honest, most actors are not thinking about it for 40 or 50 minutes a day, let alone 40 or 50 hours.
I am.
Okay, there's a bunch of us who are. So I'm being somewhat facetious here. But, they do this for 40 or 50 hours a week, and often 60 or 70.
The expectation should be that you should be focused on your career just as much as
you should. Yeah, if you worked on your career as hard as your agent worked on your career, you'd probably be a lot further along. So let's think about all that. So you do all that, and an agent gets $0. There's no guarantees, and they've still got to pay rent and phone and utilities and all this other fun stuff, and they're working
for their houses and their offices.
There's no extra revenue streams. You mean they don't have a money tree out in the backyard where they just pluck off a couple 20s when they need it. So not that a couple 20s would really buy you anything, right? Not really. I mean, you might get you a cup of coffee. So these people work for you sometimes for a year or two. Think about how many of you out there have had an agent where you've gone for months or even years without booking something, and they're still working for you 5, 6, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And when you book something, generally, as the actor, we take all the credit, and then we take 85% of the money. That's a lot. I think it's a terrible deal for an agent. I have a lot of friends that are agents, and I bless them. I couldn't do it. I think it's so great. They spend their whole
I would love to be an agent, to be honest. I'm really interested in the submission and the breakdown services side of it. I think it's really cool.
And you've been making other people's dreams come true. Like like when I book something, I'm so insanely passionate. I love my agent. I have a wonderful agent, Maria Jose Doyle, over at Universal Artist Management, and Vanessa Tomasino.
I don't know if you're the same as me, but every time I get a little email that says you have a C-mail from Actors Access, I'm like, yes, everything's worth it.
Yeah, no, it's great. I've got. I also have representation down in Los Angeles now, and I'm every time I get an email, I'm like, oh my gosh, like these people think about me all the time. Like I feel like I'm like that really jerk son or that jerk brother who doesn't think about his mom or his siblings enough. I'm like, oh my God, they send me these emails. I haven't sent them anything. Anyway, long story short, these people work really hard for us. They do it without any guarantees. They do it on the hope or the faith that you're going to eventually start booking work and make it work for a while. I think it's really cool to think about that investment that an agent will make in an actor. And I would say one of the things I think is really important with your agents is to focus on your authenticity with your appreciation. I think it's really easy to do performative appreciation, just to tokens that you're grateful. But I think it's important that every actor really think about what your agent does. You know, they get up every day, no guarantees. Like if you want to sleep in, sometimes we sleep in. You want to go to the beach today? You go to the beach today. Agents, no, they're sitting there with their phone, their computers, their whatever, and they're working everything, trying to get you good deals, trying to get you in the room, working hard, making pushes when it's appropriate. So I think it's really cool to first appreciate and respect what an agent does. So in that, let's now take all that in consideration and ask ourselves, so how do we get one of these magical beings to join our team or us join their team, depending on how you look at it, what paradigm you look at it from? How do we find an industry peer so that we can move our individual careers forward? There's an old saying that every agent's roster is always full, but there's always room for one more. So the bottom line is that, you know, they do try to have a full complement of people that they believe in and they think can represent what they're trying to do as an agent and give them an opportunity to satisfy all the different opportunities that'll come through in breakdowns. So it's important that they have, excuse me, a combination of diversity in age, gender, race, all sorts of different things.
On that, I would say that there's also a really great resource that we have in Vancouver on Vancouver Actors Guide. When you go to their main page, VancouverActorsGuide.com, you click on agencies and it has a list of all the agencies. And then I would recommend for you to go from there, go onto IMDb Pro, put in the name and see what their roster is actually like. Sometimes people don't have their full rosters on their website.
Sure.
And then like if I saw 10 redheads that are 20 on their roster, sure, we may play different kinds of roles, but that's enough of a similarity that you don't want to already be competing in your own agency, let alone when you're already, like, just to be submitted for something, then, because you're already in such a competition pool for getting the audition, so why compete for the submission?
Especially with redheads, because you know what, I mean, if you know one, it's one too many.
Yeah, honestly, I should just go blonde at this point.
I'm kidding. Sidney's amazing. Sidney's, you're going to blow up any second now. Because I put a bomb on. No, I did not put a bomb on your chair. So you want to find, thinking about agents have this responsibility to, or, it's just business sense. It's smart business to make sure that they don't have too many of the same thing. They have diversity. So when a breakdown comes down and we're looking for this type or this type, and I know all of our breakdowns right now say we're open to all, inclusivity and all these
all
other
genders, all
ethnicities.
Well,
yeah,
my
that's
tongue
all right.
decided to not work.
That's all right. But yeah, so which is really great. I mean, on one hand, it's really cool to see the diversity and the inclusion in casting, but it's also really important that we maintain inclusion and diversity in our rosters or in the agent's rosters. So they've always got that, and you have to ask yourself, so what would an agent perhaps be looking for? So I know a lot of us will say, I'm going to try really hard. But you know what? That isn't a differentiating factor. All actors will say, I'm going to try really hard. And as a matter of fact, most won't. Most know how to say that, but most won't do it.
And I feel bad saying this, but I've read a bunch of bad, doing finger quotes around the word bad for our listeners, cover letters that are just like, I have so much passion for acting. I really care about acting. Well, obviously you do. Okay, every single actor cares about acting.
Yeah.
So add things like your education, what you've recently just booked they've seen your resume. You don't need to make your cover letter all of every single thing you've ever booked. They see it on the resume.
That's exactly, yeah. So this gets to the point of what we're gonna cover today is what you need in a proper agent submission package, and when you're seeking representation, how are you going to be able to stand out? Because if you're just a really nice person, or you have the intentions of trying really hard, it unfortunately doesn't compare to people that have more training, more experience, or are actually doing the things needing to succeed. Hashtag blessed, hashtag actors.
Oh yeah, we got shirts.
Yeah, we got shirts. So this is stay tuned. We'll post them on the website. You can go to storyinstitute.ca or contact our producer, Lydia Rimmer, LYDIARIMMER at storyinstitute.ca. That is Lydia Rimmer, LYDI, I don't know, ARIMMER.com. .ca. Wow, there you go. Everybody's listening. Okay, so Lydia Rimmer.
Has Lydia made a face reveal yet?
No. She's actually a robot. She's not a real human. She's a robot that just does floss dancing here at the studios. It's amazing. It's a gift. If you could see what we see. Yeah, if you're listening to this on like Anchor or Spotify or any of the Audibles, you should check out our YouTube version where we just stare at Lydia and make funny faces. That's it. No. So back to our seeking representation. So seeking representation. So what is a standard is a cover letter, headshots, resume, demo reel or a show reel, and a voiceover demo. In both a COVID and non-COVID world, I think it's really important to do your research and go to their website and see what they prefer. Most agents aren't shy about saying, this is how we like to receive our submission packages. Mm-hmm. So don't get creative. Don't be smart. Don't stand out for doing things wrong.
Yeah, I've seen some random things that's like, send them a magazine of yourself. Like, don't do that.
Yeah, don't get clever. Don't let
industry standard.
Yeah, don't let the best part about your submission be how clever you are at the packaging. So send them a cover letter, send them a headshot, send them a resume, show reel or a demo reel, voiceover demo. We're going to get into those 5 points here, and ask yourself: do they want it in person, like a physical mailed in a manila envelope? Do they want it submitted online? Just follow their guidelines. How do they want things labeled?
Michael, what if I'm straight out of high school and I only have selfies on my phone and I've only taken one drama class and I was in my high school musical as a tree?
Then what agents do prefer is if you submit via TikTok. No, they do not. They do. You know what? Here's the thing. If you want to be professional, if you want to be a world-class professional actor, you got to play like a world-class professional actor. And we just have standard forms that we use and standard things that we do. So we're going to go through some basic ideas and some advice that we're going to give you here today to help you stand out. So the first thing I would say is you need to know what your types are. You need to know what your hits are or what kind of characters you're best going to play. And then, because this is what your agent's going to need to know if they're going to represent you. They're going to need to look at you and say, one of the first questions they're going to ask themselves is, can I get this person in the room? And if they can't get you in the room, there's no point in you having a relationship. So if you get rejected by an agent, it doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad actor. It doesn't mean they don't like you personally. It doesn't none of that factors. An agent really is looking at when somebody comes in, can I get this person in the room? Because if they can't, there's no point in you guys having a relationship of this nature. So everything you have should give them every opportunity to say, yes, I can submit them for these kind of roles based on their training, their look.
And also being realistic. I've heard from talking with some agents that they've had a lot of times where people would come into their first meeting and they would say, the agent would ask them, what are your goals for this year? What kind of roles are you going for? And they're like, a lead in a Marvel.
Yeah.
Great. That's a great goal to have in the long ways away. But if you have no credits on your resume, that's not a realistic thing to go into an agency meeting with. To say, by the end of this year, I'm going to book you Marvel.
No. On that note, I found out a good buddy of mine's in the Marvel universe now. My little buddy Jet. So a big shout out to Jet. Hey, buddy. Nice work, pal. I'm super jealous. He's
Which Jet?
Jet, he's in WandaVision. I don't want to spoil anything more than that. But just watch it on TV, pal. A young guy. We've worked together before. I know his mom and dad real well. And
congrats,
you're
Jet.
Totally in the Marvel universe, dude. That is so sick.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, pal.
Cutting off my head.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying. So cover letter, let's go through a couple quick things and just hopefully we'll give you an opportunity to find representation that best reflects your work and aligns with your goals and somebody that is looking to do the same thing with your career that you are. So again, your entire package should all be consistent. So if you have headshots that look one way, but your demo reel suggests something else, and then your voiceover demo is all over the map and your resume doesn't have anything on it, as an agent, it's probably a quick hard pass.
It all boils down back to before you can be everything to everyone, you need to be something to someone.
That's true. True that.
Coleman.
There we go. I love it. So let's start with, you know what, probably the most important thing is your headshot, you know? So your headshot is going to be a simple, quick, single, still image of who you are. And for better or for worse, people are going to look at it and they're going to make assumptions and decide whether or not they think they can get you in a room, because that's going to be their number one marketing piece. So your headshots, you probably send them 2, maybe 3 shots, depending on how many looks you really think you have and do really well, and make sure that your looks are consistent. Like, are you somebody
and that you look like your headshot as well?
Yeah, for sure.
When I was a reader for a casting director, somebody came in, their headshot looked drop dead gorgeous, like an absolute like bombshell, like amazing makeup, really curly big hair. They came in with a messy bun, no makeup on, and a hoodie for a like popular role. And then she finished her audition. The casting director just said thank you, and then she called up the agent and was like, "That's not what I brought in."
Yeah.
And that is even in an agency meeting. You should go to your meeting looking like your headshot as well.
I tell you, the last couple of auditions I've had, casting directors have been very disappointed. They're like, "Where's the giant hammer?" Like, and I'm like, "You think you saw me in Thor? That was Chris Hemsworth." People get us confused all the time.
People think I'm Black Widow all the time.
All the time.
It's so hard to deal with.
Super embarrassing. And I'm like, I'm not Chris Hemsworth. Honest mistake. And then we usually just proceed with the audition. So anyway, your headshot is one of the most important things. So you need to make sure that whatever you're doing with your headshot, it reflects the character types that you're most often going to be going out for. In Vancouver, we're doing a lot of Hallmark, a lot of Netflix, a lot of CW. Sci-fi, a lot of children's stuff. Anyways, we're all over the map, but figure out what kind of characters you're going to play. You're going to have an idea.
The first time I heard Vancouver does a lot of sci-fi, I thought it meant like spaceships, but like Sci-Fi Network. SCY-Fi.
Yeah.
Just for reference, because I didn't know that when I was first joining the industry in Vancouver.
Yeah, I still remember when we changed it to SYFY to be cool. Not really. Sci-fi stands for science fiction. There's no Y's in anyway. Different fight, different day. But all right. And now I just got blacklisted from sci-fi. Look, I'm not mad at you. Don't be mad at me. I'm just saying there's no Y in science fiction.
I've never been mad, so.
Okay, so your headshot's got to reflect the kind of character that the characters you're gonna play. So get an idea, like, again, for me, for example, like I play a lot of Barney Rubbles. I'm the quirky sidekick. My best friend is usually the hero or the love interest, or I don't know. He's got way bigger shoulders than me, and he's got a better voice, and people like him more. And then I say funny things. But my headshots usually reflect that. Or
like some of your headshots also look like the Hallmark dad.
Yeah.
That kind of deal.
Yeah, because I like to celebrate the holidays with my family.
Yeah, with a cup of hot cocoa.
Hot cocoa with the Folgers Cradle. So make sure your headshots reflect what you look like. It's really important, because I think a lot of times we think of our headshots and we just want to look as pretty or as handsome as possible, or we want our best look and we all want to look CW. But if that's not your look, don't do it. Like, make your look and own it, and just make sure what's more important is that you look like the kind of character you're going to go out for and you really sell it. And, we've gotten into that before on a whole other day. So we're not going to spend a lot of time in headshots. Just make sure the headshots you're submitting, you're not sending them 10, 20 different headshots. You're not trying to be spaghetti on the wall.
Should be 2 types in a commercial if you're also in a commercial.
That's a great idea. Two different types in a commercial is a really fantastic idea. So in addition to your headshots, you want to do your resume. So your resume is going to include your experience, your training. It might include your special skills. It might include your theater.
3 columns for everything.
3 columns. It's a pretty standard format. We'll probably, if you email Lydia Rimmer at storyinstitute.ca, she can send you a template so that you can make sure your resume is properly formatted, and we'll send you samples of what you'll want to do there.
Yeah, I just made a template for my kids' classes, so that'll be great.
Brilliant. So yeah, so we'll send that out to you guys. Anybody wants a template, just to make sure that when you're submitting a professionally formatted resume, because it will suggest that you're ready to be in the game professionally, and you're going to be less work. If I were an agent, I'd want to work with smart actors that made my job easier. I'd want to work with actors when I see it's them calling me on my phone. Yes, that's the phone call I want to take, because this is somebody who knows what they're doing, and they're a step ahead, not a step behind.
When you're getting your first agent, you're allowed to be green in the way of not having ever been on a set, but you can't be green in the way of never having Googled what it's like on a set.
For sure. And, you know, for most actors, if you're ready for an agent, you are probably ready to have some training. And if you're ready to have some training, you probably should have gone to your acting coach and said, hey, what might I want to put on this resume or this cover letter or headshots or things like that?
Today we're kind of glossing over all of these things too, and I'm sure that we're going to have an episode more focused on just the resume and more focused on just your demo reel, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to send them out to Lydia Rimmer at storyinstitute.ca, and we can answer questions on cover letters, headshots, resumes, demos, voiceover demos. Happy to go into more detail, but today we just want to make sure you have the right submission package. So let's go under the assumption we're sending a traditional manila envelope, old-fashioned physical copy. So you'll have your 2 or maybe 3 headshots. If you've added a commercial shot, you have your resume. It's in your 3 columns on your resume. It'll have your experience. It'll have your training, theater, any special skills. If you list a special skill, make sure you include what level you do it at. Like if you once kicked a soccer ball, don't say you play soccer. Put it in there if you could play it at a decent level where it's like, yeah, that's somebody who clearly could play at a varsity level or something like that. If you play guitar, don't put guitar if you've only played guitar for 6 weeks. Make sure you've played it.
You can just play Wonderwall. Don't put it on.
But Give Me a Call, it's a great song. I mean, that's enough for me. But for your agent, you probably need more than Wonderwall. So there's a couple things. Now your demo. Your demo should, before our show reel or our demo reel here in Vancouver is something that is, you know, probably something that's about 3 or 4 minutes worth of your work. And it just gives us an idea of what you look like on camera. So a couple pieces of advice. Don't send in a demo reel that requires, look at this, but imagine blank. Like, it's like, hey, check out my demo. Imagine if it was better lit. Imagine if the acting was better.
And like, I get it. My very first demo reel, I still have it. I think that my acting's quite good in it, but the camera work wasn't great because I took the route of doing all the student films. Sure. And so what I actually did is I went in and color corrected it. And I reworked on the footage. I asked for the raw footage from the students and I color corrected it.
So there's a couple different ways we can do it. So our demo reels in the beginning, when we're getting our first agents, are often a combination of early work we've done, or you can shoot what's called an audition style demo, and you generally put together 2 types or 2 scenes that are basically reflective of the type of characters you play, similar to the type of characters you've submitted in your headshots. Now your show reel, your demo reel reflects your headshots, and it's all part of the same package and the same actor.
Mine that Michael did my demo reel, and we did for me a action-y type, like vampire slaying type scene, and then a comedy. So it's 2 very different types that have different lighting, different kind of outfits, everything like that, so you just look different. But I do have a question for you on that. For show reels, once you've started, like you're going for your like second kind of agent now, you have like one-liners in shows. Like you have a line, but you're starting to get booked, but they're only day player roles. You're like, here's your coffee, sir. Sure. But then that's not really showing your real acting.
It's not. So it's, you know, it's going to be a delicate balance. And I know a lot of us want to show our full library of everything we've ever been. I know I did. When I first started acting, every time I got a line in something, I'm like, that's going on the demo. That's going on the demo. But it's not, you know, let's think about what the demo does. The demo gives us a reflection on what you look like or a reason to bring you in, a motivation to bring you in. So I would say if you handed Meryl Streep a cup of coffee and you guys had a good 20 to 30 seconds together, I'll put that on my damn demo for sure.
If it's just I'll do that today. Meryl and it's your hand saying, here's your coffee.
Probably not a lot there.
It's cool to show your mom. Put on your sizzle reel. A sizzle reel is a little bit different. that can go on your website as like a, here's everything I did this year.
For sure. But what this demo reel should show is that your authenticity, your believability, your ability to behave truthfully in imaginary circumstances, what you look like, and what your character types are. So your demo reel, again, should reflect your headshots and everything else that you've got going on here in your submission package. So your audition style demo would generally be 2 scenes, your 2 most popular hits. Each scene's probably about a minute and a half kind of thing. Showcase your as much diversity as you can, your emotional range, your character range, all these different sorts of things, so we get an idea. It's not an all-inclusive library of everything you can do. It's just your 2 strongest hits in terms of the type of characters you'd be reading for, so that when your agent gets those characters, they're like, oh yeah, I get, like, you know, with Sidney, we did the comedy one, and then we did sort of like the young female hero, and then we did the other one that was like the more ass-kicking hero. And
one was like an everyday kind of style, like an Anna Kendrick kind of style.
And the other had a bit of a Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of vibe. So, but again, those are the 2 types of characters that she's most often been auditioning for and will continue to audition for. So when an agent sees those, they're like, oh yeah, not only do I see the types of roles that she believes she should go for, but I actually believe, yeah, that's she does a really good job. I get it. She'd be great in this role.
And if you don't know your type yet, and you don't want to just be asking your acting teacher who knows and loves you because they've molded you into something, a good way to do it is from self-submissions. If you're not getting auditions for them, even for a student film of a certain type, maybe you're not that type.
For sure. That's a good point. So earlier I'd mentioned all the Marvel Universe Thor comparisons. I've never auditioned to play a Norse god. Blows my mind. My mind.
Keep trying, though.
I mean, I've got a mirror. You're looking at me.
Yeah.
Oh no, still not Thor.
What can you do?
My mom says that I'm Thor, so whatever. Okay, so your demo reel is going to be about 3 to 4 minutes long, 1 to 2 minute scenes max, showcasing your strongest hit, and then your final piece might be a voiceover demo. Basically, a pretty traditional demo would be your animation demo, commercial demo, and your narration or your audiobook type demo. Those are 3 great ideas where somebody within 3 minutes can kind of get an idea of your range, your vocal range, from age range to vocal qualities, your different resonators, your emotional authenticity, your emotional diversity. There's a lot goes into it. So, you know, an animation demo, you might showcase 12 to 20 voices, let's say, that showcase age, type, vocal resonators, all these different sort of things, archetypes. You might do a commercial demo that is maybe 4 to 6 different 10 to 15 second clips of different sort of tones. Yeah, commercial tones. And then your narration one, you might do something that's more of a traditional reading from a book or an audiobook. And then you might do one that's more of a technical read, just to show that you can be engaged in either or and make
like mine is Hunger Games for narration, Hunger Games, because teen girl and can sound a little bit angsty. And then the other one was like techie kind of style for video games.
For sure. So again, you got your cover letter, headshots, resume, demo, voiceover demo. You know, you might put your voiceover demo on a tiny little thumb drive or something of the sort. They're pretty cheap and cost effective to do these days. It's not a bad way to do it, just so people can. You want to make it as easy as possible for people to take your package, have a look at who you are, and make an assessment, and something that they can send around the office. Because a lot of times you'll send something to an agent and they're like, you know what, I've already got one of these people in my roster, but this would be great for her or him.
Yeah, and Trisco's really good about that when you submit to them. I submitted them to them way too early, but they emailed me and they said,
4 in the morning. No, I'm just kidding. That's dumb.
I personally don't see anything for you, but I'm going to send this around to the office and I'll let you know if anyone picks up. And so they're really, like, some agents are great about that, where they will contact you and let you know, like, hey, not for me, but I'm going to see if anyone else is interested, because I like see potential and stuff. And then they'll tell you, like, hey, try again in 6 months.
I'll say, you know what, we're really, really fortunate in Vancouver to have some world-class people that are working as agents at the various agencies. Like, truly, we have some amazing human beings. I can't say enough about them. They're, again, you think about what they do and they help us actualize our dreams. So just know it's a really competitive market. There's thousands and thousands of people that want agents. So what are you going to do to stand out? And it can't be...
Especially right now, a lot of people with the pandemic, from obviously everything that we were saying now works for all the time in Vancouver. But in the pandemic right now, I know a lot of people have moved up here from LA.
Yeah.
So they have a bunch of different kinds of credits as well that you're competing against. People have moved here from Toronto when they shut down again. People moved here. So it's just kind of like, this is a budding space because I feel like our film industry has done a really good job with keeping sets safe.
Yeah. So my advice to you would be just never worry. Like, don't always try to be at the bottom of the pool. Like, be so good that they can't say no. The cream always rises to the top. So if you want an agent, don't do the bare minimum. Never do the bare minimum. Because the bare minimum will always shift. That bar will always shift higher or lower. Be somebody who works hard. Train harder. Train smarter. Book work. Do different things. Have great headshots. Have an idea about what your types are. The more you know, the smarter you can be as an actor, the more appealing you can be to an agent. Remember, if you're not going to book work, there is no incentive for them to represent you. You have to find a way.
And them turning you down doesn't necessarily mean that they're never going to be interested in you. But if you do reapply 6 months later, you better have a better demo reel, different headshots,
sure,
more training on your resume to show that those 6 months you weren't just like sitting on your butt and thought maybe you'd try again.
Well, my advice here is, and you're inevitably going to have rejections. We all get the rejections, and we all get the submit again in 6 months or all these sorts of things. But my advice is work really hard to try to minimize that. So, I know a lot of people want to, they want to get the agent, then they want to get the work, and then they'll have enough money from all the work they get to get training and to get headshots. And you got it all in the wrong order. Like, it's unfortunately not the way it works. You need to give them the tools and the materials, and you need to be the caliber of actor that's able to compete at the highest level for them to have interest. So you can't reverse engineer this. You can't start with, as soon as you give me the money, I'll start trying.
And comment on that. I found there's like a lot of memes of like, there's a bunch of steps to acting and how people are trying to jump from the bottom to the top of like, having no training, no headshots, nothing, and then being the lead on a series. And I like, that's the joke part. But then in it says like, get headshots, do student films, and then get training. But I think that training should be first. I don't think you should even do a headshot until you're training. Like, you should be training so that way in your headshots, you know what types of look that you're going for. A headshot's not just of your face. A headshot is a character. You need to be portraying a character in your headshot or a type of yourself. It's not just, like, if you can't act with your eyes, then you can't have a headshot.
I think one of the misconceptions a lot of actors make is that they want to submit the best they can of their materials, assuming that their agent's going to be their business person. And as long as I get the rough pieces, I'll be able to sort it together like a puzzle and make something out of you. This is a business partner. You need to propose a business proposal for a collaborative relationship. If I'm an agent, I want to know that all your stuff's already top drawer. Your cover letter's killer. Your headshots are amazing. Your resume is smart. You're actively training and or actively working. Great demo. I can see what you do. Really easy to make a push. I'd be willing to put my name behind that. I'd like to say that, yes, I represent you. Same thing for your voiceover demos. Really quickly, in your cover letter, a pretty standard format is a 3-paragraph letter. Your first paragraph, you do a little research so it doesn't sound like you're just, throwing spaghetti at the wall. Why you like this agent or this agency? Why are you submitting to them?
Interviews they've had. Look at things that because every single agent in town has done at least one interview somewhere.
Sure. You can probably find a YouTube interview of almost every agent in this town. You can also, most Facebook actors groups have different forums and things and conversations about this agent or that. You can find strengths and weaknesses, and you'll find lots of people are willing to tell you why they love their agent. So why are you submitting to them? And it's, it's not just because they might be the only one to accept you. Is it because their ability to have an established roster and a development roster at the same time and nourish both with the same amount of energy? Is it because they're supportive of their clients and they go see their theater and they do all those things and there's a real different sort of connection to the agent? And
think about where you're at with what agents you're submitting at, because obviously there's like different levels of agencies in town as well, and larger sizes of rosters as well as some of the bigger agents. If you're fresh and get started, obviously apply to whoever you feel fits you most, but sometimes boutiques are the way to go if you want something that's more going to be personalized on you. If they have 200 people on the roster and you're brand new, they probably don't have enough time to guide you through everything. But if they have like 35 people on the roster and they give you a chance, then they have more of a time to guide you through things.
My advice is, and my personal philosophy is always just be with the agent that you feel the strongest connection to with one-on-one. So for me, I've had an opportunity to be with different agents in Los Angeles and Vancouver of varying sizes, big agencies, small agencies. But for me, it's always been that personal relationship and finding an agent who sees my career the way I see my career, and we both have an aligned path. And whenever that doesn't work for the agent or it doesn't work for me, that representation has changed. And that's okay. It's a healthy thing. It's, sometimes, I'm not with the same person I dated in the 9th grade. We had different ideas by the time we were in the 10th grade.
Like, don't settle. Don't just be like, oh, this one person who I didn't like in the interview is offering to sign me right now. If you don't feel right about it, don't sign.
And be prepared when you're in the agency seeking stage that you should have questions too. Mm-hmm. It's not a one-way street. So they're going to ask questions to you about why they should rep you, and you should ask questions of them of why they'd be a good fit for you. And it's a team thing. It's a collaborative thing. So I'm going to go back to the cover letter really quickly here. So the 3 paragraphs, just find out why they're great or why you want to be with them, in 2 or 3 sentences, articulate that. Explain to them in the next paragraph why you think you'd be a good fit. What have you just booked? What training are you doing? What are the reasons that are going to set you apart from the other 300 people that applied today? And it wasn't 300, I get that, but there's lots of people seeking representation. Why are they going to look at you, or why are they going to have a meeting with you over somebody else? And then your 3rd paragraph is why you think you'd be great together. So a really simple, clean format. Don't overspeak it. Don't try to have the whole conversation in the cover letter. Your submission package is an opportunity for the opportunity. The opportunity is the opportunity to have a meeting, which is an opportunity to have representation, which is an opportunity to get auditions, which is an opportunity to book work. And every opportunity is just an opportunity for an opportunity. So make sure when you're building your submission package, you're not cramming the entire conversation into one letter or one resume or whatever. It's meant to create an opportunity for a meeting.
Mm-hmm. And I would say in your digital manila folder that you're sending, I would also include, so we already have the cover letter, we have the 2 contrasting headshots and a commercial headshot, we have your demo reel of either work you've done or 2 contrasting scenes, your voiceover demo reel, and then I would even say to add, if you've already done your research and actually have an Actors Access page, and you have a legitimate looking IMDb, link that as well, and a casting workbook. If you just have those linked at the bottom, just by putting at the end of your email, that's really nice. Not the same length as your cover letter, but just hi, I've attached all these things. Links below, link to demo reel, link to this, link to this, link to this. It's just an easy way for them
also,
to...
go get your Cavco number. Go get your Cavco number. You'll need that. If you're going to work here in Vancouver, it's how they use their tax credits. So do the things in advance that show them that you're working on your career and taking it as seriously as you hope they do. But understand that you're the CEO and president of your business, and you're looking for a collaborative business partner, not somebody to do the work for you. And that's where a lot of actors, unfortunately, run into bigger obstacles is, I don't want to worry about the business. I don't want to. The agent does that.
I've heard even comments of people that we know mutually where they're like, "Oh, I'll get my social media together when I have an agent."
Sure.
Do it now.
Or it's I don't want to get headshots. I want my agent to tell me what I should do. Or, they should be involved in the process. But if you've lumped it all onto their plate, I wouldn't represent you. It sounds like you're going to do nothing. It sounds like I'm going to do all the cooking and you're going to do all the eating and then I'm going to do the dishes. Mm-hmm. I already hate this relationship. So don't be that person. Find a way to make yourself appealing. Be a smart actor.
If you're getting paid 85%, do 85% of the work.
Yeah, it's actually really simple. If you're going to take 85% of the money, do 85% of the work. If you do that, you'll find that more agents are interested in representing you. And again, I'm going to go back to you submit the thing either online or in the physical manila envelope, following their specific guidelines, right to the letter. Again, don't be creative. Follow the industry standards. Once you get the meeting, have a list of questions so that when you're ready to get an agent, getting the meeting is just the first step. The second step is finding out if you guys like each other and if you're going to be a good fit. And remember, if they take the meeting, that means they already subconsciously feel like, I could probably represent this person. And you're either going to tip them over the fence one way or over the fence the other way. So I'll tell you right now, if I was an agent and somebody came in and didn't have any questions for me, it'd probably be a non-starter right away. I'd say, if you don't have any questions, it sounds like you're expecting me to do all the work. What do you want to do? And if you come in with a lot of expectations and no gratitude, also a red flag.
I know some of the questions I asked in some agency meetings I had was, if I book work on myself, how much are you expecting? If it, like, with my agent right now, if I make over $500, then she gets 10%. If I make under $500, I keep it, kind of thing. So it's just having respect enough to, like, let them know, hey, I'm still doing submissions. If this is the beginning of your career, this is, like, a while ago. And just, like, having questions like that, like, what kind of casting directors do you have good relationships with? Have those kind of questions ready to go.
Here's a great question. What kind of roles do you think you'd see me going out for? What size of roles? What character types? Do you think that there might be opportunities? You don't want to make a push every single day for something big, but what are the kind of roles do you think we should do to make a push? Because we really think we'll make a splash and change some hearts and minds about who I could be in this market. Like, these are really smart questions to have. It's not going to be about how many auditions should I expect a week, or when am I going to be famous.
They can't tell you that.
Nobody knows. But what they can tell you is, you know what? I think we should start out for some smaller roles at first. Make sure casting knows you. Knock it out of the park. You know, let's get you on set a few times. Let's create a good reputation. Let's figure this out, and then let's build it from there. And I think if you do that, then you're slowly working this relationship together.
So, like we said, that was kind of like a zoomed out version of everything you need for a agency submission.
Yeah.
And this is kind of all about making your brand and knowing your brand before you submit to someone.
For sure.
And on that note, next week,
Uh-oh.
our guest is
teaser.
Diane
Spoiler.
Boy, who is a entertainment publicist.
Yeah.
And she's all about brands and how to market yourself for your business. And
really exciting. She's really listened to a little bit of her some of her different podcast appearances on other platforms, and what she's doing. She really aligns with our commitment to know your why.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing. Know your why. Everybody can do the same what and the how, but what's your why? Know your why and make it sure it aligns with other people's whys. This industry can be one where we can change expectations. We can have more control over our destinies and fate than we've been originally led to believe. If you're one of the actors whose entire career depends on, I wake up in the morning and if I have an email that I got an audition, yay, I'm still in the game. If I don't, I'm terrified that I might be out. You're not doing enough.
Because we all know that there's those stories of somebody got picked up in a mall and signed with like a huge agency in LA, or they saw a YouTube video of you singing and now you have a record label. That's great, but let's also know the regular route to go and know that path as well, the industry standard.
For sure.
And if that happens, fantastic, but you've already started laying down your pathway.
Some people become millionaires by scratching scratch tickets. It's not a business plan. So if you want to be a professional actor, don't hope to get discovered in a mall. Don't hope to get discovered at the beach. I was just going to go through a whole bunch of geographies. Yeah. Just don't hope to be discovered somewhere random. Be discovered
in an agency office.
Yeah. You know what? Learn how to be really good. Learn how to serve the story. Learn how to be a smart actor. Learn how to give your agent tools consistently. Upgrading your craft. Booking more work, keeping consistent with your headshots. Like, stay strong with your material, stay strong with your new things. So every week, every month, your agent has a new tool or device, or maybe that's too much, but keep consistent with giving your agent more tools so that they can better serve you.
Yeah, be discovered when you're ready to be discovered rather than being completely green. It's better for you to have that training to back up.
You only make first impressions once, so make the first impression right. You get to make them again. You can always be rediscovered. You can always have reinvent yourself. But my advice or our advice would be, you know what? This is a really amazing industry, and it's really cool. But it takes smart work. It's not just hard work. It takes smart work. It takes consistent work. So you've heard a few things on the cover letter, headshots, resume, demo, and voiceover demo. Again, if you contact Lydia Rimmer, she can bridge connections to either one of us and we can give you more information. But don't put yourself behind the 8 ball before the game even started. Make sure that you understand that you need to come across like a professional before the game even begins, and you need to be one of the packages that stands out for the right reasons. Great headshots stand out, the right training, the right bookings, the right demo, the right cover letter. There's so many different ways to do it, and the professional actor knows how to hit every single one of those in a submission package and get an interview. It's tough. Agents generally don't. There's very few agents who are like, I got no actors on my resume. Sure hope some people submit today. That'd be neat. It's not the way it works.
I get that it's really hard to film a demo reel right now, but you can even do it at home using weaudition.com. If you use our code, Vancouver Actors, you will get 25% off, and you can shoot a self-tape demo reel if you're in a pinch.
For sure. Now. We also, we've never promoted the school on this podcast, but you can also do it at storyinstitute.ca. We do free demo reels for our existing students, whether you're in a part-time or full-time class. Free demo reels is just a part of what we do. So consider that. We will probably... we don't really do demo reels outside of that. We really just are doing the demo reels for our own students right now because we're keeping our bubbles small. But yeah, that's what you need to do for an agent submission. I know, to get your first agent, it's a big thing. So you want to make sure you do it right. And sometimes the relationship isn't staying on the same path. Relationships shift and change and evolve, and that's okay. And hopefully one of you has the courage to say, this isn't working anymore. Let's go in different directions. That's okay. In fact, it can be incredibly respectful. I have a great relationship with my past agent. Me and her have Zoom calls often, actually. Yeah. And I'm not signed with her anymore. And we chit chat all the time. It just wasn't right for us at the right time. Yeah. So that can happen. But there is a way to, I know a lot of actors have a hard time getting an agent and they struggle with it. But if I ask them, are your headshots up to date? No. Are you training? No. Have you booked anything recently? No, but I should be. No, but I should be. Me and my friends were thinking of shooting a short film. Do you have a voiceover demo? No. But I'm really good. Do you have an on-camera demo? No. What are you going to put in your cover letter? Oh, I've never done one before. Like, again, like that's an over 5. Every day. Yeah. So, again, I get it, but I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough this. There's a lot of reasons actors don't have enough blank to do it. But remember, you're starting a business. If you're going to start a business, you got to walk in and be a business that somebody wants to be in business with. Your number one ability in this industry will be your availability. So make sure you're available to train, available to have good headshots, available to get your demos done. Make sure you have availability. It is the key to being in the industry and seeking agents that will be also wanting to seek you. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Yeah. Right. All right. Well, thanks for listening to the podcast. Another again. Long one. Yeah. So next week we have our special guest, Diane Foy. Yeah. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be a different one for us because we're going to Zoom her. I think I just used Zoom as a verb, but we're going to Zoom her and we're going to invite her to share some of her insight and wisdom. She's a lot of personality in such a great way. It's going to be super exciting. And we look forward to that. Again, weaudition.com. Big thanks to you. If you guys have any questions, we didn't get to any of the questions we got last week, but we're going to probably jump into those next week. We got a lot of fantastic questions from our last podcast. Mm-hmm. So we'll answer some of those on air next week. Maybe we'll share some with our special guest and see what her feedback would be as well. And maybe if we continue getting as many questions, we can have one podcast a month be just answering all the questions. So please, again, Lydia Rimmer at storyinstitute.ca. Submit your questions. We'd love to answer them on air. Thank you for listening. If you're listening to this podcast and you want to see my super cool new shirt, hashtag blessed, hashtag actors life, you got to watch us on YouTube. And we thank you for listening or watching or smelling. I don't know what senses you were using. That's your call. But thanks for being here today, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Bye. Bye.